Welcome to Turn It Up, a mom and daughter team that loves people and thrill in finding and sharing ideas, tips, and tools for the everyday person to truly find themselves and live the extraordinary lives they're meant to live. I'm Heather Christensen along with Kiara Bowden. We're so excited you are here with us. Please let us know who you are in the comments. And if you haven't yet, give us a thumbs up and subscribe.
These. So last time we addressed busting through relationship barriers, which is fun. We hope you were able to gain some great insights as you work through the questions. And this week is on how to manage feeling overwhelmed. This is honestly my favorite barrier buster. We also call it busting through the overloaded barrier. This is the last part of the three barriers that have a tendency to come up when you are trying to live with purpose and trying to live in peace, because these do not make our life peaceful.
So in the Your Life, Your Team app that we've talked about before, we have some great tools that will help you bust through those barriers. Not only are the meditations that target each of these barriers in there, there are also sections dedicated to working through each issue to really help you get through them. So let's talk about being overwhelmed. And I thought it would be fun to look up the definition in the Oxford Dictionary, and it says to be buried or drowned beneath a huge mass.
That is really funny.
But don't you feel that way when you're overwhelmed?
Definitely. I was not
Defeated.
expecting that definition.
The second one is defeated completely, which is very huge too. And it's like buried or drowned underneath that huge mass. And the third one is given too much of a thing of someone, feeling inundated, which that always is what I think of when I think about being overwhelmed.
Yeah. Um, I think that I I really like that first definition because that is how it feels to be overwhelmed for me. But I also really like that last one, that it's just you're giving too much of a thing to someone. And I think especially as like a parent, especially like a mother, you feel that way all the freaking time because you are giving of yourself nonstop 24/7. I was trying to describe it to Carson, my husband, because I was talking about it like it was a job, because it is like a job. It's like a lot of jobs put together. And I was like, it is like going to work and never leaving. You just never leave. You don't get a
Nope.
break to drive from work to your home. It's just nonstop. I don't even get a bathroom break by myself. The whole time I'm in the bathroom, even if it's by myself, I'm thinking about what I need to do for my kids. So it's like always just this give, 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 give. And that it does get extremely overwhelming, especially if I have to think about my friends on top of it, and my community on top of that, and my church, or just anything else. It quickly feels like you're being buried or drowned beneath a huge mass. So I think that's why I love this one so much, is because I feel this all the freaking time, and this really helps me.
Yeah. And then your mom calls you up and says, "Hey, how about those videos?" You're like,
This has been overwhelming too, for sure.
But I'm so glad that you're still partnering with me on this, even though you're about to make a huge transition in your life and move from Maryland all the way to California. And you'll be so much closer to me, and I'm so grateful.
We're grateful to get out of this cold weather and extreme heat in the summer, so that will be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, California, where you're going, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Love that. Okay, well, back to overwhelmed. I think that I feel overwhelmed usually because I have too much to do. But it can be more than that, kind of like that huge mass of something. It could be emotion. We can feel overwhelmed because of ill health, which you have been feeling a lot of lately. I don't know what it is in your area, but everyone is sick all the time.
Yep.
And
You
it
can
can
never hang
lead,
out with anyone because you're all sick all the time, but on different schedules of sickness.
yeah, that's just amazing that there is so much sickness going around there in that city, or maybe even the state that you're in, or even back east. But this also leads to emotions that can put us into a funk because we can't seem to function being sick. And so we can feel overwhelmed because of the world conditions, also, things that have been going on with the world. we can feel overwhelmed when we watch the news.
Yeah, I feel like this takes us back to our very first episode, the power of words and vibrations.
Yeah, when we have a thought, it triggers an emotion, and that emotion can lead to a feeling or a mood, and the mood can lead to anxiety. Anxiety can lead to panic, and panic to depression. So that cycle right there is the perfect picture of being emotionally overwhelmed.
The biggest problem with being overwhelmed is that allowing it to stick around definitely can lead to paralysis. I experience this all the time. We don't mean like actual physical paralysis, but we do mean that it can put you into a mental state that will prevent you from doing anything else.
Have you ever experienced that kind of paralysis before, that kind of overwhelm?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And the paralysis leads me to not get anything on my to-do list done, but it leads me to scroll on my phone for hours and hours. That is the type of paralysis I experience, and I know I have so many friends who say the exact same thing. It's like you're so overwhelmed that you don't know where to start, and you're so tired that you don't know what to do, and so you just instead block it out of your head with something else, which is an alternate reality called social media.
Yeah, yeah. There are a few things you can do to get yourself out of that overwhelm paralysis. Like we said before, the app has that specific meditation targeting being overwhelmed, and it's also has a section to work through the emotion and get on to doing something productive. I was with a client the other day, and I took them through the meditation, and um, she was so overwhelmed with just life in general. But after I took her through that meditation, I asked her how she felt, and she was like, I feel like I have had the best power nap in the entire world.
That's funny.
So, and getting that kind of reaction is like, yes, that's why it's so important. I'm so excited that people actually feel that way. I mean, I know I do, but I'm hoping that it's that way for other people as well.
Yeah.
So it can help you get moving on to something productive by working through it. And part of that, remember, it goes back to the very first episode that we talked about is being mindful. Why are you sitting on the couch scrolling through your social media?
I feel like that's the key right there is learning how to be present with your own emotions. Because that is the only way I can turn that phase of my life off is I'm sitting there and oftentimes too, I will notice that I get really irritable when I'm sitting there and scrolling and like my kid needs something and then I like lash out because I'm irritated with myself for what
Yeah.
I'm doing and I'm not dealing with the emotion that I'm feeling. And so really taking a step back and being present, whether it's with your kid or just with yourself saying, okay, why am I doing this right now? I really need to address why I'm trying to numb my feelings with something that doesn't matter.
I love that, Kiara. I really love that because I think mommy mindfulness is a very huge thing. A lot of people save themselves a lot of pain if they were to take action on the feelings that the emotions that they were feeling.
Yeah. A lot of times it's hard too because we're our children's co-regulators. We are always regulating their emotions. And so sometimes it's really just so overwhelming to think about regulating our own emotions as well.
I got to take care of me too.
Yeah. It's so hard. But that's why meditation is great and really like even just doing a meditation in the morning can really just set off a good day for you of being present and mindful.
Oh, I think so. I think it's such a big thing. I've talked to people about meditation, and a lot of times people just turn it off. And I'll be willing to bet that some of our viewers, when we say meditation and, oh, we're going to do a meditation now, some of them are like, oh, and they turn it off.
Yep, skip, skip, skip.
And I would have to admit, though, that there was a time in my life when I probably would have done the same thing.
Carson
It
used
does.
to love to listen to progressive relaxation meditations before we'd go to sleep, and I hated it. I was like, this is the biggest waste of time. And now here I am every night. Can we listen to a meditation? Just
I love it. Well, if you don't have the app, the next thing you can do that can help out is download the free meditation that I give at turningitup.com. If you have not gotten that yet, that is the practice heart coherence. That's the one that's going to get you into your heart. And you can basically use that meditation with anything that you need. So it is really efficient at bringing you into a state of calm, out of fear, anxiety, so on and so forth. And it will help you work through your negative mental states. And then you can work through these questions or this exercise that Kiara is about ready to share with you.
Before we share them, I want to see if you can think about something that is overwhelming you at the moment so you can be more present during this meditation. Then take a moment to connect to your heart space. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply for 5 counts. I don't have the nice soothing voice that my mom has. And exhale for 5 counts. Now,
You just have to get to the point where you get beyond yourself and you just got to do it.
when my mom was in the process of recording all the meditations for our app, there was times where I would FaceTime her and she was like still in the meditation speaking mode. And I'd be like, are you on drugs? Like, what is happening?
I'd be like, no, sweetheart, I've been recording meditations.
I'm glad you were doing it and on me. So anyways, inhale, exhale, 5 counts each. Now focus on the place of your heart as you continue to inhale and exhale. And while you're doing that, smile because that allows us to feel happy, and think of an enjoyable memory. Let it come to your mind and let yourself feel that positive feeling. See it flowing through your body. Do you feel connected? Now let's come back to the issue. Question 1. Why do you feel overwhelmed right now? Write out all about it that is bothering you. If you need time, which you probably do, just hit pause on the video. Question number 2. How are you feeling? Question number 3. Why are you letting this affect you? Question 4. What is in your control? Question 5. What is out of your control? Question 6. Choose one of the most important things you can control and come up with an action item for that thing.
Awesome. Kiara, would you mind sharing your thoughts about these exercises and the questions and how it impacted you and how you felt after?
Yeah, I think like we were talking about before, I think that when we do get overwhelmed, it really is just us not knowing that we have so many things to do and not knowing where to start or feeling tired to start. So going through these questions really helps you pinpoint the problem, because sometimes we don't even know what we're overwhelmed about. We just have this general sense of drowning. And because
Huge mass.
yes, because we feel that way, we don't want to think about why we feel that way, because we don't want to keep feeling that way. And that's when it leads to doing other stuff like scrolling social media. And so really by hitting it right on the head with these questions, we are able to pull ourselves out of that space and get into our heart space and know what we can do to not feel overwhelmed. Honestly, just getting into your heart space by itself is a great way to feel less overwhelmed. Because really, when you get into that heart space, you are leading with your heart instead of your mind, and your heart knows what is good for you. And usually what's good for you is to get stuff done so you don't feel so overwhelmed.
It's
So
true.
yeah, I think too, ADD and ADHD is becoming really prevalent in our society too, especially among adults. A lot of adults are getting diagnosed with it late in life because they are realizing that the types of feelings they're experiencing are not normal. And I feel like this is one of the best ways to combat ADD and ADHD is because it gets you to focus on being in the present and tell you exactly what to get done too. Carson actually struggles with this a lot, like a lot. And
So would you say that he has ADHD?
he got diagnosed with it when he was younger, and then they said it like went away, but I really don't think it did go away. He doesn't think that either. Because he gets overwhelmed extremely easily, and that is a symptom because they tend to either like hyper focus on something or they just can't focus at all because it's just too much for them. And so these questions really help them hyper focus, but in an appropriate way that allows them to control their feeling of being overwhelmed.
Yeah, I love that. So, this is the last of our series of living our higher selves, and we are going to move into another series. And I'm really excited about this because it has to do with the other part of things that we do. And we won't leave this series alone completely because everything is interconnected. So, the other part of things that we have to do, it is energy. And why does it matter? Matter is energy, energy is matter. I love it so much. We're going to have fun with it.
We are.
And we have loved doing this part, and we're excited to move on to the next. So
Yes.
we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. And please comment if you have experiences that you have been doing. Please let us know, and it would really help our other viewers too. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye.